afternoon, friends. This is Terry from the Frugal Connection. I want to test a recipe with you today. This is sweet potato brownies. It is plant-based whole food, so it has no added oil, sugar, processed foods in it. And this is my first time making it, so we shall see how it turns out. I actually gathered all my ingredients together. My oven is preheating to 325 degrees. And so what we're going to start with is I have a sweet potato that I baked yesterday. They suggest about 3/4 of a cup of sweet potato puree. I don't believe this is that much, so I did add a banana, which will give it some added sweetness, but will also bulk it up a little bit. So I'm going to add these to my food processor. You can use a high-speed blender if you want. The only thing I found with a high-speed blender, if you're not adding liquid to it, it just does not blend well. So today I decided to go with my food processor and see how that works. So I'm going to dump that in there. The nice thing about this recipe, you can do it all in your processor. You don't have to have 1,000 different bowls. I laid it out like this because I'm for filming purposes, but at home, normally I would just pull from the cupboard as I need it and put it in my food processor. That was my oven going off, that it's ready to go. I have 1 cup of peanut butter. I'm going to add this to my mixer as well, or my food processor. If I can get it out. Now, for the peanut butter, I use unsweetened, all-natural peanut butter. So that means there's no added sugar. You have to really read the ingredients when it comes to things like the peanut butter, because lots of those nut butters have added oils in them. So you want to make sure you're getting nothing but peanuts. And I actually, the nice thing is, we have a Aldi near us. And Aldi is really starting to carry a lot of these type of plant-based ingredients that are more natural. And so I was able to find it there at a much cheaper cost than I would elsewhere. But it did have, it's just peanuts, and that's it. All right, now I'm also going to add some maple syrup. If I didn't have any maple syrup, another thing I could add to this that would give it sweetness is medjool dates. Those are a great option. I'm going to add 6 tablespoons of cocoa powder, and I'm not sure I have enough cocoa powder, so they might be not so fudgy brownies. All right, it's 2, 3. There was about, I don't know, 4.5 in there. So they might not be as fudgy as they normally are. Okay, now I'm also going to add 1.5 teaspoons of baking soda. I have chickpea flour here because I want to make mine vegan. If you don't want to go vegan, and I'm also, the main reason I'm doing that is I'm trying to avoid processed foods, and all-purpose flour is extremely processed, and so what that means, it just kind of hits your bloodstream immediately, and it starts that craving mechanism in your brain where you're going to start wanting to eat a whole bunch of other things that aren't good for you. So I have chickpea flour, which you can substitute 1 for 1. So it calls for 6 tablespoons of all-purpose flour. So I'm using 6 tablespoons of chickpea flour. And add that in there. And then I'm going to add 1 teaspoon of vanilla extract. Now I make my own vanilla extract. That's why it's in this huge bottle. That was a little bit more than it called for, but we're good to go. All right, see how easy that was? That came together so simple. It was very quick. I'm going to take my pan here and get it ready before I process this. And I basically, a trick I do, because I don't want to put added oil on my pan, is I just take a piece of parchment paper, I crinkle it all up, which helps it to form better to the pan when I reopen it. Okay, there we go. All right, let me set that to the side. Get my cup out of the way and put my lid on. All right, here we go. to scrape down the sides a little bit. Okay, this is what we have. It looks very chocolatey, even though I didn't get all 6 tablespoons of cocoa powder in there. It was more like 3.5 to 4 or 4.5. It still looks really chocolatey. And now you're just gonna take it out of the food processor, stick it in your pan. Oh my gosh, this looks so good. Really yummy. It does not have eggs in it. It does not have dairy. It doesn't have oil. It doesn't have processed sugar. The only sweetness it has is the banana and the maple syrup. And if I didn't have any maple syrup or I didn't want to use it, you can use medjool dates, and then it will be purely unprocessed. All right, this is going to make a mess, so. Okay, there we go. It's all ready for the oven. I made kind of a mess putting it in the pan because my parchment paper didn't want to cooperate today. But it's all good to go. You put it in a 8x8 pan. You bake it in a 325 degree oven for about 20 minutes. If you look at it and it really looks way too gooey, you can do it for another 5 minutes. But when you bring it out of the oven and you put it on the baking rack to cool off, it will continue to firm up as it cools. So I'm going to get this in my oven right now. Okay, and as it bakes, I am going to get my kitchen clean, and I will join you back here when it's done. Welcome back. Magic of video. My kitchen is all nice and clean. My oven is about ready to go off. It did go off a few minutes ago, so I left it in for another 2 minutes just to be, it seemed like I could use another minute or two. I did want to mention one thing earlier in the video when I was putting the ingredients in the food processor. I mentioned that I was using chickpea flour because I wanted it to be vegan. That's not what I meant. I wanted it to be gluten-free. Chickpea flour is indeed gluten-free, so if you don't have struggle with gluten, then go ahead and substitute all-purpose flour. All right, let's get this out of the oven. I'm tripping on my cord here. Okay. Oh my, this smells so amazing. All right, there we go. I could have smoothed the top a little bit better, but it still feels it's a little soft, which I knew it was going to be. So I'm just going to leave it in the pan. I'm going to let it sit here till it's totally cool, and then I will take it out of the pan, get it off the parchment paper, and cut into it, and I will show you the final product when that is done. I love experimenting now that I'm eating plant-based whole foods. It just brings me so much joy to take a normal recipe that I would have used in the past, see what I can do to tweak it, to make it a healthier version that I can eat, or that I want to eat, I should say. And it's fun. It's fun for me, and I hope it is for you too. Cooking should bring you joy, and I know that for some people it's a stress producer thing. What's the worst that will happen? It'll turn out, it'll be a flop. You throw it out. Do you know how many flops I make in the space of a week? Many, many. In fact, yesterday I started to film a video, and I was going to make something similar. It was such a disaster. It would not firm up. It would not set. And so I ended up tossing it. Yes, I wasted some ingredients, and the main reason I'm doing it is to show people how easy it is once you get a recipe perfected. I'm in the process of recipe testing and kind of creating new ways of doing a recipe. But this one, if you have a sweet tooth, if you have a chocolate tooth, this will satisfy. It is very fudgy, even though I did not add all the cocoa powder the original recipe called for. Normally it's 6 tablespoons. I did not have that much. But I think it's going to be great. I can't wait to taste it. I got to let it cool though, so it'll firm up, and I will meet you back here and show you the final result. Friends, these turned out so good. I can't even describe to you how chocolatey they are. They are the right amount of sweetness. So even with no sugar, just a little bit of maple syrup and that banana, that was enough to give them some sweetness. They are ooey gooey. Like if you look here, oh my word, so good. And I would definitely recommend this. I will, since it worked, I will put the recipe down below in the notes, which is right under the video. If you see where the comments are, there's a little button that says more. Just click on that more button and it'll open up the entire thing. And in there, I will put a link to my website, thefrugalconnection.com. I will put the recipe for this. I will also link my books, which you can find on my website, but you can also find them on Amazon.com. I started eating this way back in July. I got on the scale this morning. I have lost 70 pounds, and it's been great. I mean, I eat as much as I want. It's just all plant-based whole foods. Recipes like this, once in a while, if I get a sweet tooth or I want something chocolate, if I make something like this, it just satisfies it without all the guilt. And I just want to encourage you, as you think about eating this way, or you're actually in the process of changing your diet to something like this, to give it a go. One of the reason I started this channel, the reasons I started my website, thefrugalconnection.com, was because I hear one of two things when people ask me how did I lose so much weight? And when I tell them I went plant-based whole foods and I got rid of sugar, oil, and processed foods, they usually will either say it's too difficult, it's going to be too much work to cook that way, or the other thing is it's too expensive. And so I have always been very frugal. My husband is a pastor. We live on one income. We've done that our entire married life, other than a few stints here or there. But I've learned how to make my dollar stretch. And when I incorporated this new way of eating into it, I just want to show people that you can do this and it will not break the bank. It's just simple, natural ingredients you can find in your normal grocery stores, you can find in Walmart, you can find in Aldi. And so it won't cost a fortune. But also, I find I spend less time in the kitchen now that I started cooking this way. Most of the meals I make come together in under 15 minutes. And this I spent, less than 10 minutes putting the ingredients together. If I wasn't trying to talk to a camera at the same time, it would have taken me less. And 20 minutes to bake. That's it. So if you include bake time with everything, under 30-minute meals. And they're super simple, they are very nutritious, and they get rid of all the things that keep us sick and unhealthy. So I want to encourage you to give it a try. Again, you can check out my website, thefrugalconnection.com. My new cookbook is on Amazon, and that will be linked below. And I hope you're having a great day. I'm going to go enjoy myself a brownie, which I have... It looks like a mess right now because I was not patient. I did not do what I told you and waited till they were fully cool. And so, of course, there were some that fell apart on me. But they're still good. I'm still going to eat them. Have a great day. Good afternoon,